Welcome to Top Sim and welcome to iRacing, a sim that we have spent zero time with on our channel. We have spent some time in I have spent some time in iRacing before this video, not a ton of time. All of it in the MX-5 Cup car, and the consensus being that it just seemed like they didn't have the content for me. It seemed like a lot of ovals, it seemed like a lot of dirt-based racing, and those kind of aren't my thing. And without having to spend, money on additional cars and tracks that are a bit pricey, it seemed as though it just was going to be in a situation where iRacing wasn't for me. But I am about, I think maybe halfway through my yearly subscription, and I've, realizing how underutilized I have at this point now with iRacing, and how I should have more experience. And not only that, I'm sure I'm missing out on some solid fun and some solid racing, and if nothing else, just some experience. Nothing like gaining experience in other sims, as well as in a pretty standardized car like the MX-5 Cup car. But it is an incredibly frustrating experience that I have had in iRacing the past little bit. This video is a collection of races from my first session, my first day, as we'll call it, in the series, in the road to a win, in which I've decided I can't fully quit iRacing. I can't fully give up on iRacing until I get the long-awaited victory. So I needed to jump into it. I needed to get the learning curve accomplished. And speaking of learning curve, it seems to be primarily based with people ramming into you in the corners. But that really isn't the story of this first session of this video. This first race now has run its course, and we really see that the problem are my false starts. Here we go again. Another false start right off the bat, which really, of course, it blows your race. But really, all it does, the worst part about it, is it ruined my experience. And I don't mean like, oh, I had not fun. I mean, it ruined my opportunity to gain experience. Basically, the only time you have around other cars when you do a false start like that is on your first lap. And so you get one lap of driving around with other cars. You might, have a higher safety rating from not seeing anybody else, but you don't get to learn any of the vital lessons that you would get to learn with handling your car in a race scenario, handling your car in traffic against other opponents. And that is, I can't express how frustrating. And you can see in front of me a bunch of contact car that was inside of my on the inside line, entering that corner, goes right in front of me, goes from inside to outside, right in front of me, chops me. So people really just don't have a basic understanding of racing, and I don't even necessarily mean auto racing, just of racing in general. If you were from any other type of racing before you started iRacing, you would know that shit like that is really unacceptable, and it really ruins a lot more than just your fun level. When those incident counters start adding up. But really, the lesson that I learned from this first session, this first day of iRacing, is about patience and learning when it is appropriate to push and when it is appropriate to be aggressive. And I don't even mean in the context of the race, but necessarily when is it appropriate to push? Not before the green light. Like that was my biggest lesson of the evening for sure. Was learning just not to go before the light, learning to have enough patience to know that your race isn't immediately over if you don't nail your start. You don't have to have a perfect start in order to have a good race, especially at these beginner levels, because I would be willing to bet that a fair portion of racers at the starting line did not also have a good start. And so getting right in front of here, we have another car, making contact with me. I get 4 contact points, and it's just really frustrating in situations like that because he was a little bit and again, right there, braking right in front of me, brake checking me, just random, wild, uncontrollable, and I don't understand how this point system is supposed to work at a basic level yet, at least after this first day. But here I am hunting down for the win. I'm just hoping that this guy makes a mistake and he bumps, he gets bumped by me. I feel like for me, he hit the brakes way too hard in that situation. No one needed to go that slow and, to brake that aggressively in a situation, and it really, again, it ruined the rest of my day, because here you have the replay. Oh, we just missed it, but really aggressive braking into a relatively fast corner. So here we have the third race of the day, and not an aggressive start, not a killer start, but look at this, we're in a race, we're finally going. Who would have thunk that would have actually happened? And now we actually can start learning from other people's lessons. And the next lesson that I learned here is taking advantage of other people's misfortune. Just like right there, places 3 and 4 make contact with each other in the first corner. Boom, you are now sitting in third place, going from 5th to 3rd, just like that, by being patient. We're about to gain another position here because the guy in second place can't handle his car on the first lap. Boom, we're now sitting in second place. We had a bad start. We just held on, we were consistent, and we weren't aggressive, and we were rewarded heavily for it. That is not something that is going to be a trend throughout my time in iRacing. I just learned that even through this one night of play. But it's hard to stay consistent and be consistent in the lobby of inconsistency, so to say. It's a little bit oxymoronic. Trying to improve your safety rating and fight, be aggressive, and go for the win at the same time in these beginner lobbies, because everyone is new, and so everyone's making mistakes, and so you could have a perfect move, a perfect race, perfect positioning, but someone hits the brakes too hard in front of you because they don't know how to enter that corner at a speed that you do, and now you're both sitting there with 4 incident points. The incident points is something that I think makes a lot of sense, again, when it comes back to other aspects of racing. When it comes to cycling, I think there's more of a physical incident points when you see people with tattered clothing, bruises, strawberries, not strawberries, the fruit, strawberries, the road rash. When you see these types of scars and marks on a person, you know to avoid them because they have been in an accident recently, and it's not necessarily that they're bad and they're clumsy, or even that it was their fault, but just someone who is in accidents is someone you want to avoid in a peloton because they are likely to be involved in more. And so it's a little bit one of those things about staying away with people with the incident points, and it's hard for me to say oh, everybody running into me getting these incident points, because clearly my line, my driving, everything about it is something to do with me getting incident points. But getting rear-ended like that when I was moving through a turn with speed at race pace, not my fault, but I get 4 points for it. Gets my way close to a DQ, and we are 2 laps now away from the end of the race, and I have to catch 2 drivers as opposed to 1, and as well I have this disadvantage of the loss of time, the loss of position. And here I am, just being overzealous. And iRacing will make you pay for being overzealous. It wasn't something that I realized until not even at the end of the race, but looking back on the footage about where I was trying to be aggressive to make up time after someone had made a pass on me, or after I was trying to get to a bumper to a car in front of me, and where I was trying to be overly aggressive really ended up costing me more time. And my fastest way around the track had often been braking early into zones and getting on the gas early was the fastest way around a lot of these corners and a lot of these way through the circuit. So here we have a 3rd place finish. Not terrible. I kind of thought we were in 4th place. The math didn't necessarily add up. There must have been a DQ at some point in the race from the leaders ahead of me. There must have been some contact, I would imagine. Someone, contact earlier in the race, and then someone goes off course. But there we go. The bumping that I got at the last place. Go figure, he's got iRacing on the hood of his car. Makes total sense. And then here we go, jump into the last race. This was a disaster race. I was frustrated from my night of racing. And there we go. We can see a car making a false start. And I was sitting in pole position. I thought, here we go. a frustrating, 3 previous hours of racing, because each race, takes an hour between the practice, qualifying, all that, and getting everything going. And so, you have a situation now where I'm sitting in pole. Okay, first someone passes me, that's fine. Then I get dive bombed. Now I just have to stay consistent. You're getting close to the bumper, and you're getting to this point now where I'm thinking I need to be overzealous. And again, like I said, it's not something I learned at the end of a race. It's something that I learned after the night had passed, and I was able to go back and look at footage and analyze kind of, what I had done, where my mistakes lied. Right here, huge mistake coming from being over aggressive and not just backing off and hitting the brakes a little bit earlier. Boom, we spin out, the race is over, and at this point I'm fuming from the anger. I'm tilted from being, the frustration of the night, now the frustration of this race. And it took my concentration. I wasn't focused totally on what I should have been focused. I was focused only on, I got to get, an inch of a space here. I got to get a fraction. I got to get a tenth quicker here or there. And it just led to more mistakes, punting that guy, which, what did that accomplish? And here we go, me not paying attention, looking at, some HUD display, and boom, running into the wall. This is the end of our race, and it was the end. It was me rage quitting the race, rage quitting the evening of racing. That was my first real session of iRacing. This is the first episode of Road to a Win. We have a session number 2 coming out soon. I think I'm going to do one of these videos in between every other session. Thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it. There will be more, and we'll see you in the next one.